It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today is Monday, I was going to say January, but no, February 24th. This is the C Block, which means we start around 7:40. For those of you listening live saying, why does he do that? Because of the fact a lot of people listen to the show in delayed form, in nonlinear format, and they listen to it on podcast, which is on bjshow.co, or on their video podcast, which is bjshow.video. And I think some of the things we talk about, if you don't know the dates we reference them, it'll make more sense if we tell you when the date was. So there we go. Okay, there we go, John. Is that straight now?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay, couple more things on my list. Okay, have you, you would think that with the election, that some of these Democrats who've gotten the message that the DEI and all this crazy weird stuff is gone. Did you see this thing with the Wisconsin Democrat proposes replacing mother? You ready for this?
No, you're joking.
I am not. This is the headline. Wisconsin Democrat governor proposes replacing mother with inseminated person in state law.
There's no way you're serious.
I am serious at a heart attack.
Inseminated person?
Yes. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, a Democrat, is facing backlash for introducing a budget recommendation that changes the word mother to inseminated person and paternity to parentage in certain parts of the state law. The Evers administration budget's recommendation for 2027 fiscal period advises several other gender terms to be changed as well. References to wife or husband are changed to spouse in the proposal. In other places, the word father is changed to parent, and mother is swapped out for the phrase parent who gave birth to the child.
That's the longer version of birthing person, right?
Right. Yes.
A person who menstruates.
Right. The budget was introduced by the state Senate's Joint Committee on Finance on Tuesday. Wisconsin radio host Dan O'Donnell noted on the language in his post on X, calling it beyond parody. And Senator Mike Lee from Utah said it was simply red flag. Evers quoted, and this is what they're saying, Evers' latest left-wing push is offensive to mothers, RGA Executive Director Sarah Craig said in a statement. This is what she said, being a mother is the greatest privilege I will have in my lifetime, and every mother I know feels the same. If Tony Evers can reduce motherhood to an inseminated person, then our society is lost, but why? See, this is what I don't understand. Why did they do this? I mean, what is the reason for this? Is it because if you say mother, who does that bother? I mean,
it offends a man who's transgender, who gave birth, who identifies as male but carried a baby. I mean, you have to do some mental gymnastics, Brad.
Well, it's just like I'm the father of 4 children with my ex-wife, with their mother. Okay, if I were to call her right now and say to her, do you regret someone calling you a mother of 4? Are you regretful that your kids will call you mother? You know exactly what she's going to say. She's going to say, no, I'm proud of the fact that I have 4 kids. I was the mother to 4 kids. So, and I would think most of the women, there are some women who, regret having kids. I do understand that. I do get that. But I think that probably the vast majority of women out there who have given birth, birthing persons, as we call them, are inseminated person. When that word, what was that? Anyway.
Yeah.
Don't you think the majority of them are proud of that fact?
Yeah, of course they are. But this never has to do with the majority. It has to do with a tiny vocal minority. The only rationale I could see for it is, if you were a reproductive, attorney, and you said, look, some of this language is out of date because we have gay couples that want to, whatever, fill in the blank. We need to have an asterisk on some of these laws that say, in addition to mothers, it could include whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, maybe if you're an attorney and you want to split hairs for a reproductive court battle, I don't know. Like, I'm looking for possible excuses why a normal person would think this made sense.
Well, but we already have those terms, because let's take a look at 2 gay guys who get married, okay? They have 2 gay guys and they have a kid, they adopt a kid. Aren't they adoptive parents at that point? Doesn't that term work?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because, obviously, if one of these two dudes really did have a baby, they would be billionaires because it'd be the first time ever a man had been given birth. You know what I mean? But I don't understand.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's keep in mind, I'm looking for loopholes here, Brad, because at the age of 47, I still keep up on professional wrestling. So I try to look at storylines and suspend disbelief and be like, well, maybe there's a situation where John Cena really is mad at Cody Rhodes, And then I just try to buy into the story.
By the way, and I'm going to show you how bad I am at wrestling, okay? Who's the wrestler now who is shilling for McDonald's? You know who I'm talking about?
It might be Damian Priest. Does he look kind of Samoan? Does he have long hair?
No, it's to the point where if you go through, and once again, you probably don't go through McDonald's drive-ins, do you?
No, I occasionally go into the restaurant though. Yeah.
Okay. If you go, I've seen this at a couple of McDonald's drive-thrus over the last couple of weeks, and I kept meaning to ask you this because next time I see it, I'll take a picture. I go, John, who is this guy? I know he's a wrestler. And
is he Cena? Is it John Cena?
It might be John Cena.
Yeah, because John Cena has a special deal over the last few months with McDonald's, and it became a viral thing. Like, he didn't mean to plug them, and then he plugged them, and then he ended up getting an endorsement deal. He's the only one I know that's had any affiliation with McDonald's.
I just looked at it. It is him. You know what his real name is?
Okay, it's Cena, yeah.
John Felix.
His name is John Cena, yeah.
But he's got 4 names. You know that?
No, I didn't. What is it?
John Phoenix Anthony Cena.
Oh, I didn't know that. So maybe he's Catholic.
And he's born in 1977. John, you know anybody else who was born in 1977?
I do. I absolutely do. He's my second favorite JC, born in 77.
He's 47. So, yeah, it is John Cena. Okay, because I kept thinking to myself, who is that guy? Because here's what happens. You go through the McDonald's and you order, and after you order, the screen flashes his picture up, and he's standing there like holding a Happy Meal or something like that. And I keep thinking to myself, who is that guy? But it never really sunk in who he was. Don't you think he'd put like, I guess they're saying, well, everyone knows John Cena looks like. Don't you think they'd at least put like a, lower third on John Cena's famous WWE wrestler?
Yeah, because I think there are plenty of people who don't know who he is. And he's also come to prominence lately because not only has he done acting and things like that, he was pretty much retired. And now he's on what's known as his last run. So he came back at the Royal Rumble last month. And he's essentially doing his last run up through WrestleMania. And it's widely anticipated that whatever he does at WrestleMania this year in April will be probably his final match.
So will he win? Is he going to be like the champion or something like that?
I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the loss. If he does the honorable thing and takes a loss and elevates someone else,
What?
Not everybody has to go out on top. You can go out. There's a time-honored tradition in helping younger guys get over, as the phrase goes. And I could see Cena getting beat at Mania and leaving with his head high.
Boy, there's a couple double entendres in that little dissertation from John, but I'm not going to touch them. Okay, we move along to Dan Bongino. Okay, have you seen this story yet, John?
No, what happened? What's the latest with him?
He's the new deputy director of the FBI.
There's no way you're serious. That's great.
I'm serious as a heart attack. Trump announces Dan Bongino will be deputy director of the FBI.
Now, first of all, does that mean, he's got to quit radio, right?
I guess his radio career is over. Good old the two J's at News Talk STL, John and Joe will be, remember that time we had the fighting, the battle because Dan Bongino was on Tracy's station as well as the J2 guys, News Talk STL. I guess that means his show and his podcast are gone because how in the world could he keep doing those as the deputy director of the FBI?
I was also talking to a friend of mine named Wendy in Cottleville, and she's like, I'm actually just trying to get Westplex to become more successful so Brad finally quits his radio show. That's what she told me. But it was just pillow talk.
Okay, so
at the Salvation Army, that's what I mean by pillow talk. Go ahead, Brad.
You're never going to leave me alone with John or Mike Lindell, are you? And once again,
that story. I'm not even making fun of you. I love that story.
John, see, what's interesting was I don't know how many years ago this is. Salvation Army. See, this is the sad part. This is why I say don't do anything with American Red Cross and don't go to Goodwill. Okay, I think the Goodwill is very top heavy in their management. That's just me. Okay, Goodwill. If you want to sue me, I represent myself in court, so it's not going to cost me anything to represent myself in court. Go ahead, sue me for defamation. I'll be like the governor of Maine. See you in court. Okay, but anyway, do you know that reference, John?
No. Oh yeah, was that with immigration?
That was when in a press conference last week where the governors were all in the audience. It was like some governor's conference, and Trump was making like a keynote address, and he started talking about the fact that some of the states were, most of the states were obeying his rule about not having men playing sports, and he calls out the governor of Maine, and they have a little back and forth, and she says, "We'll see you in court." And he says to her, did you hear this? This is funny. And he says,
I didn't hear this.
And he says, good, because we win that. And then he says, and by the way, good luck to you because you'll never get reelected, or something to that effect.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Okay, so it was right there at Harvester in St. Charles County, right? Harvester in 94, 364, we're going to call it. Okay. Goodwill built a brand new building and moved across the street. They were on the north.
It's beautiful. It's brand new. It's clean. Everything is well organized. I love that Goodwill.
Sounds like you've been there before, right? But
are you kidding me? It's in probably my top 5. It's in my top 5 area Goodwills.
So, and you're telling me you don't go across the street to Salvation Army?
I do both, yeah. But that intersection there is tricky for folks in St. Charles County who know, right off there at 94 and Harvester.
Yeah.
It's hard to go from one to the other. So depending on where I'm driving, I might hit Goodwill on the way, let's say, to a Walmart, and then I'll hit Salvation Army on the way back.
Okay, so Goodwill moves across the street. Salvation Army takes over the old Goodwill store, which used to be a hardware store back in the day. And Mike Lindell flies in for no other reason. He had nothing else to do in the St. Louis area than to be at the Salvation Army store. And he had a wall worth of products. I mean, a wall. We're talking 6 to 8 feet tall of his pillows and all this stuff. That it wasn't proceeds. It wasn't net proceeds. He gave that to Goodwill. Gave it to the Salvation Army. So in other words, and he was selling everything for half price. So if you bought one of his pillows for $20, $20 went to Salvation Army. So his PR guy comes over and talks to me and says Mike would like to talk to you, because I've talked about him on the air, and the Salvation Army people had told him that I was a big fan of the whole bit. So I go over to him, and we have a great conversation. And he tells me that, and if you know the story, he was a tremendously substance abusive person. He was into drugs, he was into alcohol, and he talks about that one of the organizations that helped him get clean and sober was Salvation Army. And he said he would do anything in his power to help the Salvation Army. He flew down here from, I think he's in Minneapolis or something like where his headquarters is. Flew down here, nothing other than to come to the Goodwill place, or here I said it again, the Salvation Army place, and give this stuff away and shake hands. And he couldn't have been the nicest. He was so nice. People go, "Oh, you're the pillow guy." And he's taking pictures with selfies with people and stuff like that. John, I have a soft spot in my heart for people who've been knocked down, drugged through the mud, had their butts kicked, had businesses fail, declared bankruptcy, and rise from the ashes and make something of themselves. You give me one of those people, if there's 2 car dealers selling the same car, and the one car dealer, and matter of fact, the one car dealer is $1,000 less than the other car dealer, and the one car dealer who's $1,000 more is a guy who used to be homeless, was drug addicted, and was an alcoholic, and turned his life around. I'm going to buy the car from the guy and pay $1,000 more. I'm just going to do that because
you will. I mean, you're more likely to go pay $200 down at Pick and Pull and see if you could drive it off the lot. Secondly, John Cena's parents were such big fans of Mike Lindell that they gave Cena the middle name Phoenix in honor of Mike Lindell, because Mike Lindell raised himself up from the ashes. Third of all, Brad, what you don't mention is that Mike Lindell promised you. He said, hey, for every time when you post this picture to your Facebook and somebody comments angrily, I'll give you another pillow and donate another $20 to Salvation Army. So you posted your picture, and what happened, Brad?
That's not true, but I did post the picture. But I got lots of people, especially women, who commented on my picture. I can't believe you'd be in the same picture with that horrible person. I'm going like, okay, whatever.
Why are you letting women comment on your pictures, Brad? Do you think they have freedom of speech?
Well, let me go back to the suffragettes. Yeah, I do think they have freedom of speech, John.
Okay. Wow, that's progressive of you. Go ahead.
So the fact that I let women comment on my pictures,
why would you, Brad?
I don't know, John.
Do you think maybe we'll get a text from a friend of ours in the next few minutes?
But see, here's where I'm different. This is where I'm wired different. Okay, if one of my friends sent me a picture of them having a selfie with them and Kamala Harris, I wouldn't go, oh my God, I can't believe you're in the same picture with Kamala. I go,
you'd be like, that's cool.
Exactly what I'd say. I go, where did you meet Kamala? That's pretty cool. How did you get to have a selfie with Kamala Harris? Because of the fact that I don't understand this thing. When it comes down to what we stand for and who we are, isn't that because of the fact that we have divided lines? Isn't that possible because we live in this country that allows that? And isn't
that's
that
the whole point of America, right?
Yes, that's the big picture. The big picture is that, who said it? I may not agree with what you say, but I will fight with your death for your right to say it. Whose quote is that? Whose quote is that? Do you know?
I think it was Joe Ortworth. Either that or one of the gay guys from Klondike Park. Anyway, the first time I saw a picture of Kamala, it was from my friend Willie, but it was only the top of Kamala's head. And I said, who is that? And then he explained, and I was like, oh, I'll probably never hear from that broad again.
John, we exit the program on one of John's let me try that again. Politically insensitive comments, okay?
Brad, I'll see you down in the center lane at Hall Street. I'm going to stand down there and hawk some merchandise.
No.
I hear that they're tightening up the lanes. I might have a little better opportunity to peddle some stuff down
John,
there.
I don't understand it. Now, do you think if I called somebody at the city of St. Louis and their PR department and say, hey, can you get me a spokesman to tell me about what's going on with that? And you know what they refer me to? Oh, our spokesman is Joe Mannies. Call her.
Brad, you got it in the last one. I was worried we wouldn't start the week with a Joe Mannies reference, but we were able to do it. Nicely done, Brad.
By the way, John, I have huge news tomorrow. Before we go into the top three, I have huge news tomorrow. Huge news tomorrow, which you will
I'm making a note with a pen and pad right now.
You will be amazed at. So before we go into your top three tomorrow, I will drop some incredible news tomorrow, and you won't believe it. Okay?
I can't wait, Brad.
Say goodbye, John.
See you tomorrow.